Good evening. Welcome to Ahavas Chesed. We're going to begin with lighting the candles, and perhaps you can light candles with us at home. And later on, near the end of the service, we'll be making Kiddush and saying the Hamotzi. So I hope that you will have a glass of wine and a piece of bread. You can join us in this way. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has made us holy with the commandments of lighting the Shabbat flames. We began our evening by bringing light into our homes, into the shul, and into all of your homes. And now we continue with a prayer, a song, a greeting to angels. It's the Shalom Aleichem. If you have the Siddur, it's page number 5. If not, hopefully you can just join in. Think about the pattern that we have placed before us within our Jewish tradition. Lighting and bringing warmth into our homes, and now welcoming angels of peace. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei amlochim, hakadosh baruch hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And while the angels are still with us in your home and between the shul and all these homes, we're getting ready to sing together. L'chun Ranana, page number 11, which means, come on, let's all join in and sing. L'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'Adonai. L'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, nikadma fana b'todah. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, bizmira naria lo. L'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'Adonai. L'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'chun ranena, l'Adonai. The English is the first stanza. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song. What does it mean for this psalm to put forth the opening message as we begin the Friday evening service? That all of us have the capacity to praise God. Don't take that for granted. Each and every one of us is blessed to have certain qualities and characteristics about us to aspire to go beyond the routine and the ordinary. That's what Shabbat is all about, to look at the world in a different way. And tonight, I'm thinking about what it means for all of us to be blessed. There's a song from Rick Recht. It's called Anachnu Mevorachim. We are all blessed. Anachnu Mevorachim, Rick Recht.
Levavot Ohavim Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim. We are blessed to have hands to hold each other. We are blessed to have eyes to see the good in the world. We are blessed to have ears to hear the words of love. Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim. We are blessed to have time to understand. We are blessed to have choice to live where we want to live. We are blessed to have voices to sing this song. Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim. We are blessed to have life, live in freedom. We are blessed to have hearts to love each other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim Anachnu Borachim Levavot Ohavim.
On page 14 on the English side, your home, because you're connected to us, is a holy place. The English, the top of page 214, the English please. Bow to Adonai in the glory of this holy place. Tremble before God's presence, all who dwell on earth. Announce among the nations, Adonai reigns. The land is firm and will not be moved. Peoples will be truthfully judged. The heavens shall be glad and the earth rejoice. The sea and its fullness roar. The meadows and all that grows in them exult. Even the trees of the forest shall sing praise as Adonai comes to judge the earth, judging lands with righteousness and peoples with divine truth. Your home becomes a locus whereby this message comes forth. It's the origination point of the idea of a holy place. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yeramayam, 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 umalo. Yeramayam, 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 umalo. Yeramayam, 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 umalo. Yeramayam, 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 umalo. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. On page 18 on the English side, call out to Adonai, all the earth. Break out in joyful singing. Sing to Adonai to the music of the lyre. Lyre and voices making music together with horns and shofar cries. Trumpet the presence of the sovereign, Adonai. Let the sea and all that is in it roar, the earth and all who inhabit it thunder. Let rivers clap hands while mountains sing in harmony, greeting Adonai who comes to judge the earth, judging the world with justice and the nations with truth. The sounds of the heavens themselves. Now we're on page 21, and you'll hear the word kol over and over again, 18 times. The word kol means voice or sound. It's the voice of trees, the voice of mountains, the voice of meadows. Nature itself is singing along with you and me. On page number 21. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Havu l'Adonai, Kavod va'oz, ay, Havu l'Adonai, Kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai, b'adrat kodesh, Kol Adonai alamayim, el hakavod irim, Adonai, Almaim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Bakoach, ay, Kol Adonai Behadar, Kol Adonai, Shover Arazim, Vaishaber Adonai, Etar Ze'alvanon, Vayarkidem Kemo Egel, Levanon, Vesirion, Kemo Ven Re'emim, ay, Kol Adonai Chotev Lahavotesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yachol Alayalot, Vayechesof Ye'arot, of Hechalo, Kulo Omer Kavod, ay, Adonai, Lama Bul Yashav Vayeshev, Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai, Oz Lamo Yiten Adonai, Evarech et Amo Vashalom, Yai, Dai, Yada, Dai, Yai, Dai, Yai, Dai, Yada, And now we're singing L'Chadodi. It's on page number 23. Page 23, the first two stanzas and the last two stanzas on page number 25. Shabbat is in your living room. Shabbat is in your home. Shabbat is right here. Shabbat is where you and I bring Shabbat in. And we can sing knowing that we have brought Shabbos into the world. L'chadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, L'shem otif eret velit hila, L'chadodi likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nikabela, Likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machashava tchila, L'chadodi likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nikabela. Yamin on page 25, after which we rise. Yamin usmo tifrotzi, V'et Adonai taritzi, Al yad ish ben partzi, V'nismecha v'nagila, L'chadodi likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala, Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, L'chadodi likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nikabela. We are seated turning to the Psalm for Shabbat on page number 27, reading the English. And if you have a Siddur, you're invited to join with us. This is the Psalm that is the identifier of Shabbos. And if you're familiar with it in the English, then you can appreciate the significance of these different themes and motifs. And if not, just open your ears to the presence of nature and the sense of God's being close, the importance of each and every individual to God and the universe. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name most high, to proclaim your love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. Finger the lute, pluck the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up. You gladdened me with your deeds, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork. How wonderful are your works, Adonai, how subtle your designs. The arrogant do not understand. The fool does not comprehend this. The wicked flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms only to be destroyed forever. But you, Adonai, are exalted for all time. Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered. As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raised my head high, anointed it with fresh oil. As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady, for my ears listen and hear. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age, they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. Those last three stanzas, especially the next to last stanza, catch me this evening. As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady. My ears listen and hear. There's a tone of confidence that God is close at hand. In fact, that's why I've selected this evening to conclude this little section of the service with a piece. It's from a group named Shirav, and it's Biyado, which literally means in the hand of God. And many of us are familiar with the phrase Biyado Avkid Ruchi, because it's the concluding stanza of the Adon Olam. And many of us are familiar with the Adon Olam, which of course concludes the Saturday morning service, and it actually opens the morning service every single day of the year. The Adon Olam opens the morning service every single day of the year. There's a strong tone of God's close at hand. In fact, I am inside God's hand, Biyado. And let's take hold of this message this evening from the Psalm of Shabbat, being this close to God's own hand, Biyado Avkid Ruchi.
beit ishan v'yaira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li v'lo ira bi'ado avkid ruchi beit ishan v'yaira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li v'lo ira. As I lay you down to sleep, I pray to God your soul to keep in the shelter of God's wings. May you always be a blessing. May the angels guard your nights. May you wake in radiant light. May you shine as stars above. Afkid ruchi beit ishan v'yaira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira. As I lay you down to sleep, I pray to God your soul to keep in the shelter of God's wings. May you always be a blessing. May the angels guard your nights. May you wake in radiant light. May you shine as stars above. May you always know love. Biado afkid ruchi beit ishan v'yaira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira.
We rise to Borchu, page 39a, a reminder that we need each other in order to pray together. The Borchu. Baruch hu et Adonai Amavorach. Baruch Adonai Amavorach le'olam v'ed. As recited, the first bracha on page number 39a, the English aloud. Baruch Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of season and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. Il chai v'kayam, ta'amidim l'chalen olam v'ed. Baruch Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. On page 40, the last two lines of English, the little red arrow, a point to be made. It's a grammatical point, but it's an important point. This is actually a command. The English reads, do not ever withdraw your love from us, O God. It's a command in Hebrew. It's a command in English. How could we have the guts to command God to do something? And I suppose the answer is that knowing that God loves us is so critical to us as individuals and as a community that when it comes to the terrifying possibility that that might wane and dissipate, we summon up the guts and we say, God, you can't do that. Don't ever take your love away from us. Do not ever withdraw your love from us. Baruch Adonai, who loves the people of Israel. Baruch Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema on page 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol meodecha, v'hayo hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'lechtecha v'derech v'vishachbecha v'kumecha v'kishartam la'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha v'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha. Moment or two of silence, or perhaps considering the passage on page 42. Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 44, the Mi Chamocha, the little red arrow at the top of the page. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu alehem Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha Poelim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh noratilot osefele malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokeh yam lifnei Moshe zeli anu v'yamru Adonai yimloch la'olam va'ed v'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miad chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael. We've just concluded the Michamocha on page 44. And we're familiar with the Michamocha because the Israelites spontaneously erupt in song. They're singing over having escaped Pharaoh's army. They've crossed the sea. The army is no longer a threat. And they're grateful. And now they look off into the distance, and in front of them is the wilderness. And somewhere off in the distance is Mount Sinai. After they get to Mount Sinai, they'll then be journeying towards the Promised Land, which is going to be their home. First, they had to escape the immediate danger. Now they have to cross through an unknown future. Eventually, they'll get home. When you turn to page 45 and you see Hashkivenu, this entire blessing presumes what you and I take for granted, that each of us has a home where he or she feels safe and secure. Step one, Michamocha. Escape danger and begin a new journey towards home. Hopefully, step two, arrive at that home. Tonight we have a song to share. It's entitled Home Tonight by Ari Herstand. the top of page 46, Vishamro. Vishamro v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti liolam, oti liolam, oti liolam. V'shamro v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamro v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, v'shamro v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. In a moment of Chatzi Kaddish, it occurs to me, I don't often explain what the Chatzi Kaddish is. The Chatzi Kaddish is a prayer calling out to remind us that God's name in and of itself is something to be praised, blessed, appreciated, to appreciate the name of God. And so taking that into account tonight, a short introduction, a song by Saul K. Blessed be the name.
Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai Nevarach. Blessed be the name, blessed be the name, oh, blessed be the name of the Lord. Yikevod Adonai le'olam, Yishmach Adonai l'masav. May the glory of Hashem endure forever. Let Hashem rejoice in His words. Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai Nevarach. Blessed be the name, blessed be the name, oh, blessed be the name of the Lord. Mizrach Shemesh Abnevo Nechula Hashem Adonai. From the rising of the sun to its setting, oh, Hashem's name is to be praised. Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai Nevarach. Blessed be the name, blessed be the name, oh, blessed be the name of the Lord. Ramakagoyim Adonai Ad Hashamayim Kivodo. High above the nation is Hashem. Oh, above the heavens does He shine. Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai, Yishem Adonai Nevarach. Blessed be the name, blessed be the name, oh, blessed be the name of the Lord.
Shemei Rabba, Amen. Be'alma divrach yoter mechute, b'chayechon u'b'yomechon, u'b'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, u'b'zman kariv, v'imero, Amen. Yehishme Rabba mevarach, Olam liol meil maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Yitparv Duma Vinase, Viradar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shemei de Kudasha, Brechu, Leilam, Kobrachata Vishirata, Tushbechata Venechemata, Da'amiran Balma, Amen. Please rise, a few minutes of silent prayer. If you have the traditional text before you, it's pages 47 through 52. Just a little reminder, perhaps you don't have a Siddur, highlighting some of the themes of the Friday night Amida. The opening blessing reminds us of our place in the world, for we are daughters and sons of Abraham and Sarah, Rebecca and Isaac, Jacob, Rachel and Leah. And each one of us brings an essence of holiness from those patriarchs and matriarchs into the world by our lineage and how we conduct our lives. The second blessing speaks of God's holiness. The third speaks of knowing that God's name in and of itself is holy, just like the Chatzi Kaddish and the song by Saul K. a moment ago. And then the fourth blessing reminds us that time can be holy if you and I treat time as a sacred commodity. The fifth bracha reminds us that we all share a home, the land of Israel. The sixth bracha is a bracha of thankfulness, gratitude, and the seventh bracha is a prayer for peace for the entire world. Take hold of one or two of these and share a few moments with all of us in silence. It's the Kaddish Shalem, the full Kaddish, on page number 54. Yitkaral v'yitkarash meravo, Amen. Ba'alma divrei reketem v'imiru, Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach, La'olam li'ol me'al maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitparvesei v'darav v'dashmei kudasha, Brechu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechamata, Da'amiran b'yalma v'imiru, Amen. Tikabel sloton boton dechois kadam avon divishmai vimeru. Amen. Yehei shlabra mishchaim vimeru. Amen. O seshlam bermama v'yaseh shalom l'simeru. Amen. Happy Thanksgiving, or Happy Shabbat of Thanksgiving, or Happy Post-Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving draws upon many elements and many mental images. Anytime you and I pick up a piece of turkey or reach for another portion of cranberry sauce, we can instantly draw to mind that association with our foundational story. Those Puritans who set forth sailing across a vast ocean wilderness because they needed to live in a place of freedom and hope for they themselves and their descendants. And they were willing to risk all manner of threats and hazards and challenges. They came to a new land and they encountered disease and many challenges, and many of them perished, and eventually they made friends. So goes our foundational story, with people very different than they themselves, and they celebrated. That's our foundational story. And we as Jews have a foundational story as well. It begins 3,400 years before the Puritans, when an old woman and an old man left Syria and they set forth to march across a vast wilderness, a wilderness of deserts and mountains, seeking a sense of religious and spiritual freedom for they themselves and their descendants. And when you put it in those terms, you see that there's a common thread between the trek and the journey and the struggle of Abraham and Sarah and the Puritans who came 3,400 years thereafter. And Sarah and Abraham marched forth on into the future. And our foundational story tells us that this old couple was promised by God, by providence, a child who would take them forward into the next and the next and the next decade and generation and century and millennium and then beyond, fulfilling that promise heard from God. A promise that your future is assured in this new place. In time past, and that future did not materialize, and so Sarah took a great risk. She gave Abraham her handmaiden Hagar. And our foundational story tells us that a woman risked losing the love of her husband by bringing a new woman into the family. And a child was born, and his name was Ishmael. And indeed, as the sacred story plays out in the next parshiot of Breshit, we do find that Sarah and Ishmael and Sarah and Hagar have a very rocky and checkered history. Sarah eventually seeing Hagar and Ishmael as having an access to Abram that she herself doesn't have, experiences jealousy. And she comes to Abram and she says, I can't live like this anymore. And he says, do as you will. She's your handmaiden. And Sarah chases away Ishmael and Hagar. We have very little given within the Torah of any kind of an ongoing developing relationship with Isaac, who's born late, 13 years later, 13 years separating Ishmael and Isaac. These two lads, and then later two young men who have two differing mothers, but they share a father. We have one sentence, and it may indicate that Abram has a fairly close relationship with Ishmael, but it's only the lore and the commentary outside the Torah that give rise to the sense that there was this conflict and this antipathy between Ishmael, the elder, and Isaac, the younger. Within the Torah, almost nothing is given of these two men who share a father, but they're born of two different mothers. Years pass within our foundational story, and Abraham, the patriarch, the founder of ethical monotheism, dies. And what strikes me is that Isaac and Ishmael come together to bury their shared father. I wonder what draws them to that burial ceremony? Is it love? Is it duty? Is it a sense of responsibility? It's not made clear in the Torah at all. We can only fantasize and imagine what might be drawing those two boys, now men, together. For they've grown up separately because of the conflict between those two mothers, differing mothers, and the conflict and the animosity and the antipathy lead to two men growing up separately, perhaps parallel, perhaps not. But yet they come together to bury their father. I'm thinking now of Thanksgiving, and across our entire beautiful land, there's been a great deal of conflict and confusion. Shall we come together as families to celebrate Thanksgiving, or shall we stay apart because we are afraid of transmitting COVID to our loved ones? We're afraid of receiving COVID from our loved ones. And you know how much confusion there has been. You know how much discussion there has been about, shall we celebrate together? Shall we not celebrate for Thanksgiving? What shall we do? And some, out of love or duty or responsibility, have said, I'm going to stay away from my family this year for Thanksgiving. And others, out of duty, responsibility, love, have said, no, I'm going to be with my family this coming Thanksgiving, this current Thanksgiving. And I just wonder if in some way we can look at these two archetypes, Isaac and Ishmael, and how they came together as a means of understanding what it means for people to be in conflict and confusion over love and duty and responsibility, just as people in America seemingly are today, and on a much greater scale. Thinking of how people in America of two different loyalties are viewing their nation, our nation. It's almost as if we have one father and two mothers, one central voice, the land of America, but shall we view America in this manner or in this manner? And do we allow love of a sense of duty and responsibility to America to drive a wedge between ourselves and other Americans? Or can we come together as Isaac and Ishmael came together at a pivotal and critical moment in their lives? Can we, Americans who have become polarized in two different communities, realize that now is a pivotal and critical moment, far grander than the holiday observance of Thanksgiving? Even if we have a sense of antipathy, hostility, can we see the loyalty and the duty and the responsibility to the land itself, the nation itself, as grander than what may be dividing us? And can we come together? May we all be blessed. Happy Shabbat of Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving of Shabbat. And now let's make Kiddush. If you have wine, you're invited to rise. The Kiddush is on page number 55. Baruch atah Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Eloheinu melech olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron l'maseh breshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta mikol amim. V'Shabbat kodshecha v'ahava v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat. I hope you can join in with the Hamotzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Please remain standing for the Aleinu on page 56. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kugoye aratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'goraleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim mishtachavim umodim Lifnei melech malchei hamlochim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noter shamayim v'yosed haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mimal shrinatu zo megavei meromim hu Eloheinu einod emet malkeinu ebezulato Kagatu b'torato v'yadatayom v'ashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim mimal v'al haaretz mitachat einod. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam v'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihye Adonai echad u'shemon echad. And now the mourner's Kaddish. Kaddish is on page number 58. We're remembering our loved ones at this time. And the yortzites which we mark on this occasion include Ida Rubin, Mashi Weinstein, Emmanuel Liebeskind, Miss Rose Zuckerman, Harold Mazel, Lena Katz, Samuel Smolkin, Max Loeb, Dr. Arthur Houston, Zelda Smith Schwartz, Sarah Elka Miller, Leah Greenberg, Sam Laddie, Irving Weinstein, Paul Buckman, remembering Harriet Rips Powers, Estelle Rosenbaum, Eunice Wertheim. If you have another name to mention, please do so aloud in your own home. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba. Amen. Be'olma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'miru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba nevarach. La'olam, ololmei, olmaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, shmei dekudusha, richu. La'ela min kol, birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechamata, da'amiran ba'olma, v'miru. Amen. Yehei shlama, rabba, min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May all who are grieving be consoled. We extend our love to all. May you have shalom. Reminders, of course, Havdalah tomorrow night at 7 on Zoom. Of course, it's already Shabbos, and so the office is closed. I hope that you've already checked in and received the passcode. We'll conclude this evening with a song. It's based upon a psalm from the Bible, but I want to play with you just a little bit. In Hebrew, the word hodu, which gives rise to the word todah, and people know the word todah means thank you. The word hodu actually means y'all thank. It's a command. One person says hodu means y'all thank. But believe it or not, hodu also, as a noun, means turkey. So when you say hodu in Hebrew, you could be talking about the idea of y'all thank, or you could be thinking about the word hodu as a turkey. I think Yom Hodu is a great way of describing Thanksgiving in Hebrew. So I want to conclude with the song Hodu Ladonai, y'all thank God for turkey. It's a modern melody by Steve Dropkin, and you'll hear the term Hodu Ladonai. You'll also hear Ki Leolam Chasto, which means God's chesed fills the universe. And of course, you recognize the name Chesed from Aaron Schul's name. And now, Steve Dropkin.
Ladonai, Ladonai, Kito.
חסדו לעולם, לעולם חסדו.
Shabbat Shalom. May you and your family and all your loved ones be blessed with health and peace. And may you know how important you are to the shul and to me. For now, good Shabbos.
I can edit it out.